What's up, guys? So I got another label spotlight for you. I haven't done one of these in a few months, and these are always fun to do, so I figured why not. You can see the title, I'm doing my top 20 favorite albums from Century Media. There's a few I'm missing, so this isn't like a definitive list, but just 20 of my favorites, so you have to keep that in mind. But first, if you can hear it, we're listening to a band that is criminally under-talked about within the metal YouTube community or whatever. So this is Acrolantis with Amen T. There's another huge ass title to this that's in Greece, but I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that. So compare them to a modern band, they definitely do not sound Greek at all. So to compare them to something like one of their compatriots, it's definitely, if you know the band Thy Dark and Shade, it is definitely in that vein. Or like Abigail, sort of like the late 90s, early 2000s style, but yeah. These guys are awesome, super underrated that they get no attention, sadly, for whatever reason, but yeah. And they're definitely one of those bands where like they've gotten better with each release. My favorite era of this band is like probably their last 4 albums. That's definitely, I still think, their best era, but yeah. This is one of the best of the like earlier stuff though. I think this is like the 4th or 5th or somewhere in the middle, but yep. Check it out if you like this super awesome, not Greek sounding Greek black metal, I guess. Let's hear a little bit of it. Alright, you get the picture. Let's do this thing. So, if you can see me looking down, I have this stuff in, like, bi-yearly order, I guess. That seemed to make more sense instead of alphabetical. So, if you see me looking down, I have my phone pulled up so I actually know what year the stuff came out. Alrighty, first one, 1989. Morgoth Resurrection episode. This also has the Eternal Fall EP too, but yeah, so these guys are a German death metal band. At least I think they're still around, but I'm not really sure. I'm only familiar with these 2 EPs in their first format, to be honest, but yeah. So to compare them to something, they basically sound a lot like Death, so if you like, but not the prog era, they're definitely like first couple albums era Death, so Scream Bloody Gore or Leprosy. Especially vocally, Mark sounded a lot like Chuck, but yeah. Definitely 2 of the best death metal EPs, just period, especially for the early days, but yep. Check it out. So that is Morgoth Resurrection Absurd. Alrighty, 1991, a band I don't mention very often because they got pretty boring after a while, but their first, like, 5, let me think, 1, 2, yeah, their first 4 albums and the live album were pretty awesome, but Ice Earth, Night of the Storm Rider, so this came out in 1991. I know they're much more known for like a kind of like a power metal band, but to me, this is basically, I will argue with anyone, this is like a straight up thrash metal record, at least to me it is. It's like thrash with like heavy metal vocals, pretty much, so hard combination to beat, but this is definitely my favorite record by them. But like I said, their first like 4 were really great, the next 2 were good, and then after Horoscope, they kind of like fell apart and got kind of mediocre, but there's no denying their first few albums are awesome. I mean, listening to the song The Path That I Choose or Mystical End, those are definitely the 2 highlights, but yep. I know this doesn't have their classic vocalist Matt Barlow, but they did a re-recording of this, like, I think it was the Days of Purgatory compilation where they did like re-recordings of the old songs, and honestly, even though he was a way better vocalist, it sounds kind of odd him doing these because I'm so used to these versions, so like someone else singing them, these songs sounds kind of weird, but oh well. But here you go, Ice Earth, Night of the Storm Rider, definitely the best, at least for me it is. Alright, so 1992, Asix, Last One on Earth. So I had a good number to pull because their entire discography's been on Century Media, but I wanted to be honest and pull my favorite instead of pulling like a super random one, but oh well. Yes, I prefer this to not Last One on Earth. What the fuck's the debut called again? The Rack. I definitely think this is their best record, better than The Rack, but oh well. So, like I said, they don't have a bad record, but this is definitely, I still think, their high water mark. Yep. And this version also has the Crush the Cenotaph EP and the Asix demo tape EP too, which is sweet. So, there you go. Asix, Last One on Earth. Alrighty, 1992. Still, these next few are from 92. So this band has definitely changed from their beginnings, and they've kind of like gotten kind of not very good, but their first, despite them all sound like completely different bands. Their first 4 albums are awesome. So this is Tiamat with Clouds. Their debut, Sumerian Cry, I think is a super underrated early Swedish death metal record. It doesn't have the typical like Sunlight sound despite being recorded there. You would definitely not know it was actually in that studio, but yeah. So this is their 3rd album, and this isn't really death metal anymore. It's almost like kind of aggressive, slightly gothic-y doom with like some harsher vocals, I guess, but it's not like death metal vocals. It's more like, it's hard to explain, but if you like, you know it, but it's almost like a kind of yell instead of like a death metal growls. But anyway, that's my favorite record by them. But like I said, their first 4 albums are all awesome despite all sound like a completely different band. But anyway, there's that. Love the Necrolord painting. And then 3 different labels did this reissue. I'm not sure why, but oh well. And then cool color for this one. But yeah, man, if you like aggressive, kind of gothic-y, kind of deathy doom, this is a awesome record, and definitely my favorite by them. But there you go, Tiamat Clouds. Alrighty, so this is one of the best black metal records of all time, if you ask me. Samel, Blood Ritual, definitely the best, at least my favorite. So I wish I had this on wax, but oh well, this is good enough. Awesome. Oh, well, too, I have a t-shirt of that, but yeah, man. So if you don't know Samel for whatever reason, legendary Swiss black metal band. It's almost like how those death dooms is almost like black doom kind of, so it's definitely, they took a more like slow and evil approach to black metal opposed to some of the bands like Morgoth who were trying to play 1,000 miles per hour. These guys took it back to almost like the Hellhammer Celtic Frost template and like ran with that. But honestly, I think these guys did Celtic Frost better than Celtic Frost, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, listen to the opening track, Beyond the Nothingness, and After the Sepulture. Those are definitely the 2 best songs. This whole record smokes. But yeah. So there you go. Samel, Blood Ritual. Honestly, probably a top 5 black metal record of all time for me. But I've mentioned this one a bunch, so oh well. There you go. Alrighty, so 3 more from 1992. This is definitely the year of the most releases in this video. Here's one of the best American thrash records of all time, in my opinion, especially from the East Coast. Demolition Hammer, Epidemic of Violence, so easily the best, but their debut is awesome too. And then the less mention about the 3rd record, the better. Even the band hates it, because when they play live now, they only play stuff from the first 2, so you know that's pretty bad if even the band hates that 3rd record. But yeah, so super punishing death thrash, which unlike some bands who played like super fast the entire time, they weren't afraid to slow it down, but not like groovy or Pantera-y, but like super skull crushing like parts to make the fast parts even more intense. But yeah, awesome vocals, killer production, awesome guitar playing. I mean, Skull Fracturing Nightmare is basically the perfect description of this record. So it's like punch you in the skull, kick your ass the entire time. But oh well, there you go. Epidemic of Violence, killer record, obviously. And here's another one I've mentioned a bajillion times, but oh well. Grave You'll Never See. So like every time I mention this is definitely, even though it's like the middle period record or middle of the 3, it is definitely, you could hear like where they were and where they're going, because it's definitely more groovy than Into the Grave, but less so than Solce, because it has a good mixture of the fast parts from Into the Grave and a mixture of some of the more like groovy parts that were on Solce. But yep, definitely their peak record, honestly, from the Swedish death scene. Definitely a top 5 album from that scene back in the day. Arguably top 3, but there you go. Grave, Into the You'll Never See. Great shit, but like I said, their first 3 albums are all killer classics. Alright, so this band, I believe only the original US version was on Century Media. I think another label did, maybe the LP, but I don't remember. But it was on Century Media originally, so I'm counting it. Solstice with Self-Titled, I think is what this one's called. I don't remember offhand, but yeah. So these guys were a death thrash band from, I think, Florida, which They were definitely most famous for having Rob Barrett before he went to Malevolent Creation and then Cannibal Corpse. So yeah, he was on guitars and vocals on this one, so that is awesome. This version also has their 1991 demo and a new track from 2015, which is sweet, but yeah. I think they have a couple records after this, which honestly I've never heard them, but this is definitely like one of the better like thrashy death metal albums from the early days of Florida. But there you go. I'm sure if you know your early Floridian stuff, this is definitely one of the more well-known albums from that scene. But anyway, there you go. Solstice, self-titled, killer record. Alrighty, so done with 1992. So this next one's from 1996. So I believe they had a like black metal import called Century Blacks. This was one of the ones that was on Century Black. Unless Discogs is incorrect, and if that's wrong, then blame Discogs. Old Man's Child, Born of the Flickering. By far the best record in my opinion. The next two are good, like they're decent, but this one is honestly the only record I think is fully great. Like, so compared to something, it's definitely like early Demu style black metal, but like, I mean like the early good era of Demu, not like stupid like later stuff. So don't be afraid when I say Demu. It's not like super cheesy, like the keys are in the background, so it's like, don't be afraid. But yeah. So anyway, definitely if you know like your symphonic black metal, definitely one of the better like, I guess you could say, B tier records along with the first couple Limbic Art albums. But I honestly prefer this to all of the Limbic Art stuff, and honestly I think this is even better than all the early Demu stuff. Though I do like Demu's first 3 records though. But anyway, there's the front. No matter which way you hold it, this cover does kind of suck though, because that's not good, and that kind of makes it even look worse. But oh well. So not a good artwork design, but oh well. I like the logo though. In the back, this is a Cosmic Key Creations reissue. And obviously this has Goldo, who would later join Demu, and I believe he left Demu, I think, this year to reform Old Man's Child, so we'll see what happens. Because they haven't done an album in like 20 years, so we'll see if it's any good, but I'm not exactly holding my breath. Double LP both on this, though they didn't label the center label, so that's kind of annoying, but oh well. And then this one has a etching, which is sweet. So obviously I know that's side D, but A and B side's not labeled, which is kind of a pisser, but oh well. Same man, if you like early Norwegian symphonic black metal, this is definitely one of the best albums from that scene, but I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir because we all know that anyway. But there you go, Old Man's Child, Born of the Flickering, a great release by them and definitely their best. Here's another one from 1996. I debated showing this or the follow-up, but listening to those two, I prefer this one only marginally though. Rotting Christ, Triarchy of the Lost Lovers. So when it comes to Rotting Christ, everything up through Genesis I love, and Theogonia is another favorite, but especially all their 90s material, that's all essential as far as I'm concerned. Definitely some of the best from the Greek scene. I mean, listen to the song Asheron, that is definitely one of their best songs. And usually when black metal bands like cover like thrash songs, I kind of roll my eyes, but honestly, their creative cover on this completely rips. Those are awesome. I mean, they do Tormented Flag of Fate and Pleasure to Kill. You think it wouldn't work for the style, but honestly, they nail those covers, man. That'd be cool to hear them do like a special like OG thrash set, or at least play some of those songs live. But yeah, so definitely I would say their last like straight up black metal record, because they got a little bit more gothy on like A Dead Poem, which is honestly my other favorite, which is the one I almost pulled. But yeah, so this is definitely, I would say, their last like truly fully black metal record, but oh well, it doesn't matter. So there you go. Rotting Christ, Triarchy of the Lost Lovers. You can't go wrong with any of the stuff in the 90s as far as I'm concerned. Alright, so these next 3 are from, no way. Yeah, these next 4 are from 97. A couple of these I mentioned in my Norwegian black metal video, but oh well. Ulver, Natran's Madrigals. This is, I think, another one put out through Century Black, if I'm not quoting that wrong. But yeah, so definitely the best record in my opinion. Though if you're a beginner to black metal, definitely do not start with this because it is pretty rough sounding. Like if you think Under Funeral Moon's a hard listen, this is almost like even more raw and nasty than that record, though. I've come to appreciate that style, but when I first heard this, I thought it was like completely noise and just static, but oh well. So if you know over, you know their first record, Berg Talk, was basically like a atmospheric black metal record. Their second record, Cults Vayner or whatever, was like a pure folk record. And this one, they said, yeah, screw the atmosphere, we just want to be super raw and nasty, which they did. And then after this, they did William Blake, and they said, okay, bye-bye, black metal, I guess we're out of here, so. Pretty funny way to go out, making like one of the nastiest black metal records from Norway back in the day. But yep. Killer record, but like I said, definitely not a place I would start if you just get into the style, but I love it though. So there you go, Over Natrim's Madrigal. Alright, here's another one from 1997. Honestly, a band I'm not a huge fan of, but I do like their first 4 albums a good amount. Boknagar, Olden Domain. So honestly, I've always thought of Boknagar as like Enslaved Junior, which might be blasphemy, but I don't know, man. I feel like both bands had a similar trajectory. They started out more Viking metal, and they basically both became more progressive, though I think Enslaved did that style a lot more interesting than Boknagar. Especially they have a period of albums where they got kind of boring and generic, but Enslaved luckily never had that problem, but oh well, that's just me though, so yep. Definitely my favorite record by them, though when it comes to their modern era, I think their last like 3 they've had a good return to form, though it's a lot different, but yeah. So if you want them at their most straightforward, this is I would argue they're only like straightforward black metal albums of the first 2, because even their 3rd record they started incorporating other stuff, but yep. Definitely my favorite though, so there you go. Boknagar, the Olden Domain. Alrighty, so if I had to rank these, as a surprise to no one, this probably be my #1 if this wasn't any order, but it's not, so. Emperor, Anthems to the Walk on the Desk, definitely, arguably my favorite record from the entire Norwegian scene. It's either this or Immortal Pure Holocaust. I go back and forth between which one, but I probably pull this one more often than I do that Immortal, so that this one gets the, like, push just barely. This was also a Century Black version, or Century Black record originally, so that's sweet. But this is a 2020 Candlelight reissue, which is awesome. So anyway, super iconic painting, even though it's kind of hard to see on camera, but you can like look at all the detail in person. Back in the back, obviously first album with Trim, who was definitely the best drummer in my opinion. Favorites on here, Thus Spoke the Night Spirit, The Lost and Curse of Reverence, and With Strength I Burn. Though it's hard to beat that opening riff of Ye and Transiparium too. Killer shit, but this whole record rules, so. Here's the inner. Just Black's not gonna bother pulling that out, but yeah, man. Definitely the best record, so I am one of the people that thinks this is better than In the Nightside Eclipse, but you can't go wrong with either of those two, so if you want to argue that In the Nightside's better, I can kind of see your point, because you do have like Cosmic Keys to My Creation and Time on there, and that's hard to beat, but oh well, for me it's all about anthems, but there you go, so. Emperor, Anthems to the Worken at Dusk. Alrighty, let's go to the only one from 1999, and a band that I think is pretty underappreciated, especially for like Death Doom from the 90s. So this is Rude Magic with Enter the Realm of Death. So I say from the 90s, but they only had 2 from the 90s, so it was the debut Supreme Force of Eternity came out in 1997, this is their second from 99, so yeah. To compare these guys to something, I would say if Hooded Menace was faster, but these guys came obviously years before Hooded Menace did, because I think the first Hooded Menace was like 2007 or something, but like I said, so these guys were first, but. And honestly, through the discography, they've gotten like slow and slow with each release, because like the first like 3 or 4 records, there's some blasting parts on there, and after a while they kind of ditched that, but oh well. Anyway, there's the front, and then the back. Honestly, my favorite record by them is probably, actually wait, I have it right here. Moon of the Chaos Eclipse, I think is definitely my favorite, and this also has the Darkness Death Doom, so this is their either 4th and 5th, or 5th and 6th, I don't remember, but yeah. This is a Osmos reissue from last year, which is sweet. Share the gatefold. Guys in the band. Some of this stuff is kind of hard to get in the States, but luckily this was pretty easy to get because a seller I buy from a good amount had copies, and he is in LA, so it was like a pretty quick delivery when I bought this. Love this color of the vinyl. Cool, like blue, and you can't really see it on camera, but there is some like black, you can see that better. So yeah, man, if you want a pretty, one of the better Death Doom bands, I don't feel like it's enough attention. Though I argue their first like 3 or so records, more just straight up death metal, would happen to have some like slightly doomy parts, because I would say when it comes to Death Doom, they are definitely more of a death metal band that happen to have doomy elements instead of like the other way around, if that makes any sense. So yeah. But all the records you can't go wrong with, at least the ones I've heard. I've heard most of the discography, and so far I haven't found one that I think sucks, but oh well. There you go. Rune Magic, Enter the Realm of Death. Fantastic record, but like I said, Night of the Moon Eclipse I think is my favorite though. Alright, you're going to, this one is from 2000. Cian Conquerors of Armageddon, so definitely one of the more popular bands from the Brazilian scene, which if you know Brazilian death metal, they are definitely known for super crazy and chaotic style, and I would argue these guys are definitely the pioneers of that scene, because I think their first record was like 94, and you had a lot of bands that came after them that tried to copy this style, but I still think they were the ones who did the best. Though I do like Rebellion a lot too, though, but anyway. This is, I think, definitely their best record, but their first, like, 3 or 4 records all agree. And I like the last couple records too, but yep. So anyway, love that painting. In the back. This is a, Century Media reissue from 2016. So one of the few albums in this video is actually a Century Media pressing, because most of these aren't, as you've noticed. Just Black's not gonna bother pulling that out, but yeah, man. If you like super fast, in your face, no bullshit, kick you in the teeth, Brazilian death metal, they are definitely the kings of that style for a good reason. But check them out. Cian Conquerors of Armageddon. Alrighty, so 2001. This is definitely kind of an odd album by this band, but I actually kind of like it. So this is And Oceans with Nmagal, so you can basically tell about what this cover, what this is going to sound like. So it is kind of industrial-ish, which when it comes to industrial music, most of the stuff I kind of find boring, but I'm not sure why. I kind of gravitate towards this, maybe because the electronics almost sounds more like a symphonic elements more than actually industrial, if that makes any sense. So it's like the industrial moments sound more like weird keyboards instead of actually like beeps and boops or whatever, but yeah. Their 4th record is like the only one where they went too far with it, which even people I know that love industrial, even they don't like that record, so it's definitely not just me. But in their last 2, they definitely returned to the earlier style, which I prefer, but those ones on Century Media, but oh well. Anyway, there's that. Then the back. These guys are from Finland, if I did not mention that. Gatefold. This just on Black's not gonna bother pulling it out, but yeah, man. Alright, we're gonna talk about a super, I think, underrated, like, super group, I guess. So these guys haven't really done much, but oh well. So I wish they got more attention. So this is Dimension Zero with Silent Night Fever. So these guys are from Sweden. They're definitely, I would say, most well known for having Jesper Stromblad from early In Flames on guitar, I think. It was either guitar or, yeah, he did guitar on this one and their 3rd album, but for some reason on the 2nd record he only did bass, which I'm not sure why, but oh well. to compare this to something, I would say it's definitely a lot less melodic than In Flames. It's almost like straightforward death thrash. So if you know Defleshed, it's definitely in that style, but I still think they have their own sound though. And the vocalist is also the original vocalist for Marduk, who did vocals on just the debut, but he was also the drummer on those of the Unlighted Opus Nocturne, so that's pretty sweet. But yep, I don't remember who the other two guys are, but those are definitely the two most like famous members in this band. But there you go, man. If you like awesome, super killer, riffy, fast as hell death thrash, check it out. I mean, listen to the song and the second and last song, and it's definitely one of the best songs on this record. But yep, great shit. So that's Dimension Zero. I know this artwork sucks. It looks like a very 2000s artwork, but if you can get past it, this record slays. So there you go. Dimension Zero, Silent Night Fever. This is honestly, I think, one of the very first Swedish death metal albums I ever heard, which is probably going to make some of you guys feel pretty old. So there's a Bloodbath with Nightmares Made Flesh. I know a lot of the older guys kind of say, oh, Bloodbath, they were like a tribute band. Well, I mean, they had Peter Takrin, Dan Swanner, and Michael Ackerfeld, so kind of hard to be a tribute when you have guys from the OG scene playing in a new band. So I always consider them more of a side project than a tribute band, but oh well. Such as me nitpicking those people, I guess, but yep. So I kind of wish they did another record with Peter Takrin on vocals. Maybe it's because I'm a big Hypocrisy fan, but I don't know. And honestly, I kind of wonder why Dan Swanner never sang on one, because he had like an awesome vocals in Edge of Sanity, so it would have been kind of cool to hear him do an album on vocal. It would have been kind of cool to hear him do vocals on the record, but maybe he's wanting to play guitar and not sing, but oh well. Favorites on this one, Cancer of the Soul. I mean, this has Eaten on, which is definitely one of their best songs, which they play like every show. Bastard Son of God, Draped in Disease, Brave New Hell. Oh, this one came out in 2004, and then Dimension Zero was 2002. But there you go, Bloodbath Nightmares Made Flesh. Definitely my favorite full length. Though my favorite release by them is probably the Unblessed and the Purity 10-inch. But yep, there you go. Nightmares Made Flesh. The last two. So this came out in 2005. This is Nevermore with This Godless Endeavor. So definitely their best record in my opinion. At least my favorite, which Dead Heart of Dead World used to be my favorite, but I've come to realize that record's kind of front-loaded and the back half isn't as great as the rest of the record, but this one, every song is awesome. Favorites probably Born, My Acid Words, and Vindicated Nation. But yeah, Nevermore is definitely one of those bands where you can't put them in like a specific style. They definitely have their own sound, which it would be cool if we got new material, but considering Warl Dane died, I don't think it'd be kind of hard pressed to find a vocalist with the same personality and charisma, but you never say never though, so hopefully one day it'd be cool to even get like a reunion show, but we'll see. So there you go, Nevermore, This Godless Endeavor. The last one. Paradise Lost, Faith Divides Us, Death Unites Us. This is from 2009, so honestly, this is one of my favorite records that they've done, period. So the album before this, In Requiem, I would say, well, actually the self-title was like the return to form. I think they've been putting out consistently awesome records since. Some are better than others, but from the self-titled forward, I think this is probably my favorite. And it's like one of their fastest too. There's almost some moments where they have like blast beats, which they're definitely not a band that's known for that, but pretty cool though. But this doesn't have like the death metal vocals at all, because they didn't do that until the last two records. What was it? The Plague Within from 2015. That was their return of like adding harsh vocals, and they've done that the three prior. But yeah, this is definitely, I still think, my favorite of their modern era though. So modern 2009, so 15 years old almost, but whatever. Favorites on this one, I Remain, the title track, The Rise of Denial, and Horizon's End. But yep, great record, definitely one of my favorites though. So Paradise Lost, Death Unites Us. Faith Divides Us, Death Unites Us. So there you go. This was a lot quicker than my last time I did this, because when I did my Nuclear Blast video, it was like almost an hour for some reason. I guess I was in a rambly mood that day, so oh well. Thanks for watching. Not sure my next thing will be. I seem to say it every time, but oh well. Let me know what's some of your favorite stuff that I didn't mention, because I'm sure I didn't mention a good one. Like the first Unleashed record I didn't mention, but oh well, I can't show everything. Thanks for watching. If you like what you heard in the background, remember, check out Acrobatus. And if you wonder where to get this, Salvation Distro, I think, has copies, which is why I got mine. So yep, great stuff. Thanks for watching. Take care. I guess I'll see you guys after Christmas, so in the future, hope you had a good Christmas or whatever, so peace out, guys. Later.